Well, shalom, shalom. And it doesn't look like that I have anybody on here right now, but that's okay. You might be seeing me on Facebook as well, and that's fine. It is my really busy day, but I wanted to make sure that I made contact with you guys to let you know that I am having an open Zoom meeting tomorrow, and we are going to be kind of kicking off our parable of the seeds. And in the parable, it's important for us to be able to, good to see you. It's important for us to understand why, why is Yeshua speaking in parables? And so I'm really excited to break down this verse with you tomorrow. I know it's going to be a busy weekend, and I don't expect that attendance is probably going to be very high because it is Father's Day weekend, and I totally comprehend that. But I still am going to go ahead and go with it because there are so many verses that need to be broken down between the parable of the seed and then getting into the wheat and tares, because they need to go kind of in order, because it's a foundation of understanding the seeds before you go into the wheat and tares. So that is what we are going to be talking about, and we're going to be in the midsection of why the disciples asked Yeshua, why do you steal? So that's what we're going to be talking about. There is two things that I really wanted to discuss today, and I am man, oh man, oh man, there is a lot going on. I've been hearing this from other people. I'm not even talking about the world events. I am talking about things that are being stirred up within us through the Spirit. It is crazy. And for someone who, like me, who is an empath, there's been a lot that I've had to adjust to. And I'm sure if you are that way too. Hi, Renee. If you are an empath, you're probably been stirred up quite recently as well. And I believe that revelations are totally abounding right now. I mean, I can't keep up with them. I really, truly can't. And today, my friend Marita sent a song that was the Lord's Prayer done in Aramaic. So if you haven't seen it, I am going to upload it on YouTube, but please check it out on my Facebook page, which is just under my name, Carrie Husband, and listen to it. I had tears and would not stop. It was incredible. Again, the vibration frequency of Aramaic is incredible. And I need to also let you know, please, description box as to what they did, because they did some scientific blood work tests before and afterwards, before listening to the song and then listening to it afterwards. Hi, Jamie. To see how it impacts our blood through the Aramaic language. I've known this, but I'm really great somebody else is talking about this and that they actually did some proof. It's incredible. Like I said, I was in tears and I am so stirred. That's why I'm on right now, because, able to be in that place of spirit and being centered and grounded is really a good time for us to be able to communicate with each other. So one thing that I wanted to add, okay, so meeting open tomorrow. If you can join me at 1 p.m., that's great. The link is in and going to be in the description box so that you have all the information I'd love to have there. If I only have one of you on there, that's fine. If I have multiple, that's even better. But I really want to continue meeting with you guys on Saturday and just make this as a regular thing. It helps us to get to know one another, and we have some open time to chat as well. The second thing I wanted to share with you today, just from my heart, is regarding in like the 10 Commandments, where what talks about honoring your father and mother. Now, I know this weekend is Father's Day, and I know that many of us who are here have had in fact, some of you guys who are on right now, I've heard some of your stories, and a lot of us have had incredible abuse in our younger years. And the capacity that we have for love is so amazing because of the abuse that we went through. It's kind of funny how it correlates that way. I don't fully get it, but other than the fact that the greater the trauma, the greater the love, the darkness, the greater the light. And I get that. And it's beautiful how it comes about. But the reason why I wanted to share that with you is when we have it in the commandments about honoring father and mother, this is really challenging. They're very, very challenging. Hi, Tina. So good to see you. And because of that, I wanted to let you know just like we're reframing everything, I want you to reframe things just a little bit different regarding this. And if I cry, it's just me. It's just me. It's the expression of me without my mask on. It's just me talking to you as your sister, not as a teacher, not as Carrie Husband, but as family here. Those of us who have gone through emotional backgrounds, it is hard on Father's Day, especially if you started and suffered, and we were suffering through. When I looked at it, I'm not going to show you because I just want you to hear my heart. When it says for us to honor our father and mother, it is really more about giving weight and value. Now, I'm going to take two to express my heart. When we honor our father and mother, it took sperm and an egg to create us, right? We are here experiencing, and that's how we came. That's how we entered. Our DNA, genetic code, and Air Force essence was placed with the sperm and the egg. When we give honor and weight, it is honoring the fact that the two of them came together to create us incarnating here. Instead of looking at it like you have to honor do that, very difficult to do that if you're still in the process of trying to heal from childhood trauma. But you can honor the fact that the sperm and the egg came together to create you. As you're here, you're existing. And we came at a certain time to hold this vessel as one who was full of light and love. And many of us who came in with lots of light and love had a lot of abuse to try to diminish our light. So we can honor and give weight and to the process of the creation of our being, because we were wonderfully knit in our mother's womb. Now, what happened on the outside is different. When we came into the waters and through the waters of chaos, we made. And you were here to be the light. So please take a look at that in the material side of it, to give weight and honor to the sperm and the egg that made you. Now, on the spiritual side, when we are to honor our mother and father, take a look at the teachings through the Spirit of what I've shared before about the pre-incarnate Yeshua and Sophia as being Yod-Heh-Vav-Heh, the seraphim messengers that came to raise. A recording this morning, and I will be putting it out regarding theology again, because I had something really hit me strongly about who we are in our maturation process. So when we give honor to mother and father, the seraphim messengers that came to raise us up in the system of duality so we could navigate through it, it was so that we too can become seraphim messengers as burning ones that have the flame of God, Uriel, within us as we've become the flame of God, as Aleph Lameds. Those who have become one, that are strong leaders and teaching shepherds, that are the flame as burning ones, that have been given power on the inside for us to manifest it while we are here. So please take a look at this weekend as honoring your spiritual mother and father as the seraphim messengers that came to show us the way, how to raise us up from our poor and destitute state into becoming first fruit leaders that have a message of oneness, unity, as we walk these things out, because we've discovered them within, and it is our job to manifest it externally. Give weight and value in all process of our maturation and our spiritual mothers and fathers. First, through Yod-Heh, Vav-Heh, pre-incarnate Yeshua, and Sophia, the Holy Spirit, that came to raise us up in our divine masculine and our divine feminine, and then give weight and honor and value to those spirits and fathers that are here in the flesh that are assisting you. There are many out there. There are many that are assisting. There are many that are spreading their love and the message of oneness unity to the rest of the world. And some of you have been taken under the wings of spiritual mothers and fathers. And it's those that we are giving weight and value to, because they are the ones that are helping us navigate. And most of the time, they will continue to point you to go inward, because that's where the true answers are found. That's what this weekend should be about. That's what Mother's Day should have been about, and Father's Day. Now, if you are fortunate enough to have had natural parents that were also your spiritual mother and father, you are truly blessed. But there that are wanting to assist as well. So that is what I wanted to point you to in giving weight and value, so that those who had trauma don't have to be bound in fear or anger or bitterness, trying to figure out how we're to honor our father on these days that are set aside for it when we suffered abuse. But I can tell you that when you come out on the other side, when you come out on the other side of the abuse and you take a look at what it did for you, hi Brandon, the abuse that you went through through the hands of your mother and father, when you come out on the other side of it, when you've been able to reconcile it, and you've been able to go through this process, and you were able to raise yourself out bitterness and out of the anger, and you begin to find oneness, unity in you, and love you unconditionally, you will begin to see them different. You will begin to see them as you being one with them. And you will begin to see their woundings. You had your woundings. And we can then let that go. And then we can continue to walk in our unconditional. It doesn't mean that we don't have boundaries. It just means that our perspective has changed. So honoring your father and mother can look completely different. So if you're not there yet, that's okay. Honor your father and mother spiritually first, as in the pre-incarnate Yod-Heh, Yeshua, Sophia, and then as the manifestation that we saw when you and the Holy Spirit was given, so that we can be able to set them free. Because really, when you set yourself free, you're setting them free as well. Of it, everything that you do in you is then manifest, and it's outside of you. That is the greatest service to others. By finding your healing within, by finding oneness within, by finding the shalom within. Because then you manifest it externally. And because we are all one, you impact your brothers and sisters without forcing your beliefs upon them. So when I come before you, I am just sharing the things that I have found, sharing it from a place of my heart, as being one with all of you, not as Carrie Husband, not as the mask that I wear, not as the wife Ken Husband, not as a daughter or a sister or an aunt, but just as one of you, as a fractal of light, as a fractal of source, being here, sharing my experience, because it's your experience as well. Hello, Lou. So if you guys are just joining, and I would recommend starting the beginning of this when you get it, because of the heart of, I love you too, Lou, the heart of honoring our mother and father, and really understanding what the weight of that verse was, instead of what we have been told it meant in through shame and guilt, that we need to do certain things when we've suffered at the hands of abuse. But pretty amazing to see how much all of us are growing right now. And I love the stories I've heard. I've heard, so many triumphant stories. I've heard people have shared things with me. Hi, Claire. I just marvel of who we are. Truly, I marvel at who we are and the strength that we have and our ability to love. It's so amazing. It just floors me. So again, just as a recap, please go listen to that Aramaic Lord's Prayer. Man, I'm still really weepy from it. So now what I want to do, so again, recap, open meeting on Saturday at 1 o'clock for anybody who wants to join. Please listen to that Aramaic beautiful song on my Facebook page. It will be uploaded shortly to the YouTube channel. And now, I love you too, Jamie, very much. And now I want to go into Genesis 1:4. This was one of those things that I looked at and I thought, oh my gosh, this is why we have the system of duality. And we've been talking about this, about moving and taking the light and the dark into becoming one, and sharing with what Lila and Hillel is. And for some of you that, that's been a little difficult. Some of you, it's been a revelation that you've wrestled with Hillel being Lucifer, and how much it got tainted and how much it got twisted. And I really love hearing some of the things that have been coming forth with revelations that Spirit has been sharing with you, because they are all exactly that. Those revelations are bits and pieces, and in our fabric quilt that we are knitting in oneness unity, we're all bringing our portions to the table to share our revelations, because it isn't meant just for us. It's meant for us to be able to bring it forward to one another. It's like, oh, I got a release. Let me share it with you. And, we're going to wrestle with it, right? That's the point. We are going to continue to wrestle until we become oneness unity. But these revelations are meant to lift us up higher, to come out of our lower carnal thinking, our lower of consciousness, where we are contracted consciousness, because innate consciousness has the ability to love all. And that is, and yes, Derek, totally, no more fear. That is what an expanded consciousness is, because we realize it's all experience anyway. And we stop judging those things through fear-based, because that's really where a lot of our judging has been. If I can judge you as being not where I'm at, then I don't have to deal with you. But in reality, we're all one. So we have to deal with each other, the good, bad, and the ugly. I laugh because I'm describing me here. I had to get a hold of my good, bad, and ugly side and realize that I am perfect. I was made perfectly. I'm not saying that I don't make mistakes, and I'm not saying that from a haughty position. I am saying that right where I'm at, doing what I am doing, is holding the place like all you are. You are all perfect. You are all experiencing, and you're experiencing it. We're bringing it to one another, and it's beautiful. So regardless of what it is, I know there's lots of things in the world that really shock us in not good senses, but there's always the negative polarity that has to be held within the polarity of duality, so that we can learn and grow from it and then ascend above it. So let's go and look now at Genesis 1:4. I'm excited to share this with you guys. Here we go. And I'll have to pop back and forth because I can't see your comments while I'm sharing the screen. I know that you guys can still see me. I have to remember that. So I'm not doing anything that's not becomely. I don't need to be picking my nose. Anyway, just throwing some humor in there, because I know you guys can still see me. You can see me. Just bring in humor. Genesis 1:4, and I will read it in the mechanical translation. Says, and saw God the light, that good, and divided God between the light and between the darkness. So phenomenal. This is so phenomenal. Oh my goodness. The reason why I skipped it was, I skipped that because it was added for medical purposes. So what do we do? And saw God. All right. So I have shared with you guys before in other videos. This might be shocking for those of you who have been looking at some of these teachings. You already know this. Elohim is us. We are Elohim. This is us, creator beings that came in to experience our own creation. And as Elohim, it is of the one who are are the strong leader teaching shepherds that are revealed, having power, that are of the waters above. So in this aspect, this is seeing, able to comprehend what duality was like. And so if you guys are familiar with the law of one and the teachings of Ra, you can see that here's Ra, and this means one who sees. It's incredible. So when we look at it letter-wise, we have connected to Mother in humility that has been given twin visions that have raised us up to become one. From our poor and destitute place to becoming first fruit leaders that have been instructed and therefore can teach, that hold the staff of authority and speak forth revelation as the family of one. So this is already the Creator seeing its creation. And then look at this. Right after it, we have Aleph Tav. And of course we would have Aleph Tav, because Aleph Tav is the language of creation. We were made through the Aleph Tav. Our genetic sequencing has the Hebrew language within it. That is so profound. So even in the system of Kabbalah, I don't study Kabbalah. When you see the tree of life, all the branches within the tree of life contain all the letters of Hebrew through the Tav. So when we see the Aleph through the Tav, we know that this is a summary of the entire alphabet. The Aleph, Bet, Gimel, Dalet, Hey. It'd just be like me saying you, I would say the word alphabet, and if you heard alphabet, you would know that it would contain A, B, C, D, E, F, G, all the letters from A to Z. This is the same thing that we're here, but it's being communicated to us is one covenant, is that we're all one. And the language leads you, because it literally is a step-by-step process. And look. This is why I'm excited. These are the letters, Aleph Tav, conjunctive dash, which means it's connected to light. So when you hear me say the letters of light, I wasn't kidding. It's not something I just pulled out of there. Well, I mean, the revelation comes first. Get the revelation spirit, and I get super excited when I can back it up with the word. It's not just conjecture I'm throwing out there at you guys. These are things that spirit has led me to dig out to share with you. So the Aleph Tav is the light. Revealed light. And so profound. So we have the Hey on the prefix side. So whenever you have a Hey on the prefix, this is speaking individually. When the Hey is on the suffix side, which is father, the suffix is father, prefix is mother, suffix is collectively. So this is saying that the light will be revealed to you individually. Wow, that's so amazing. And that is through the Aleph Tav. That is why the most significant changes that were ever made within me is when I began studying languages, because they are of light. And remember, light is just is. It doesn't have, there's no polarities in it. It is light. It is. There's no emotional attachment to it. It's information. And when we take a look at it, what is light? It is one. It is light is one. It is oneness unity that pierces your heart up. Wow. Hope you guys are getting that. I don't like to make it complicated, but I know Anusha as well. So this is through the spirit breath that we are all one, and that we are of the light, if you can connect to it within your heart. And that is what should raise you up from your poor and destitute position to be a first fruit leader, because then you become a head over your body. So let me put this in more of a practical term for you. The practical term is that right now, some have the beast ego that is sitting as the head over you, that rules you. It is placed within the seat, the throne of your brain, claiming itself to be God over you, because it controls your entire body. It controls your systems within your body, your fight or flight. And it controls your amygdala, which then is triggered through fear. It will shift you from a peaceful state of being into one that is in panic and in fearful. So when we have these revelations that come from the letters of light in oneness unity, when we connect to it, it raises us up so that we are the head over our body. That through the spirit that we are suppressing the beast ego, and that we find the place where we are perfecting love, which then casts out all fear. And that is good. So when we look at that, this is the hand that grasps a hold of the power that is connected to good. And I was sharing with my friend Regina, I think I just posted that video today if you've already seen it, that we wrestle within ourselves until we pierce ourselves within our heart to build ourselves. And it is really about bringing forth, the building that which is good, meaning the wrestle is good. This is also a brandishing. So this is actually connected to the seraphim message. If you grasp a hold of what is being spoken to you, there's a power that is being given to you, but you are going to have to wrestle with it until you connect it into your heart so that you can build yourself. Now look, I'm going to stop this real quick and just check in with guys so that we can go, so I can see if you guys have questions. It looks like my friend Micheline is here. Lynn, hi. There's so many people that are here. And I'm not sure how to pronounce that. Is that Roque Lazarus or Rogue? Oh, no, I get it. It's Rogue Lazarus. Okay, I get it. Nice to have you here, Rogue Lazarus. So I'm just checking through your messages right now. I'm going to get back into it. Greg, it's good to see you here. I'm very, very happy. I see my beautiful family here. And Micheline, I'm so happy that you're here joining us as well. And Lynn Leach and Law of One. Oh, I guess you've been listening to it. Yeah. The amazing thing is with the Law of One, the Hebrew and the Aramaic back up that. Or I should say the Law of One backs. Hebrew and Aramaic back up the Law of One. That's what's so fascinating. So anyway, it doesn't look like you guys have any. Hi, Zarin. It's good to see you as well. So I'm going to get back in there. So if you already connected with what I was sharing, how incredible the first part of that verse is about with the Elohim and the Aleph Tav and the burning and the brandishing of the seraphic message that lifts us up, and that it's the ring of the light. So incredible, so incredible. But now we're going to get into the other part that I wanted to share with you about the system of duality. And this is, again, for us being able to learn, because again, as Elohim, as creators, we enter into our creation to experience it, but then we have to understand about the system of duality. And this, and see it in Hebrew. It's like, oh my gosh, this has been here all along. So let's dig in a little bit more here. So then we get the word badal. You guys, this is mind blowing. If you guys can grasp a hold, and if I can do a sufficient enough job to explain this to you, so we don't get lost in the minutia here. I don't get lost because I know the minutia intimately because I've been studying it for 5 years. But my heart is to be able to convey and connect to it, right? So we already shared that the wrestle is good. The wrestle is very good because it's all about building yourself where? On the inside. You know, if you connect to the heart level, that is when it's good because it's going to build you. Now we see divided. Oh my gosh. Think about that for a moment. Okay, so Elohim is one, right? So we're in Genesis 1:4, right? And we've got the light and it was good. And now all of a sudden there's a division takes place. But I want you to look at something in the root word of here. This is Badal. And Badal talks, it's division. So, you know, we can take a look in here. And so to divide, to separate, to sever, to set apart, to make a distinction and difference, okay, to be separated. I want you to see something here. There's a dalet right in the middle. So whenever you're looking at a word and you look at the very center of the word, this is having to do with your heart. This has to do with your innermost inward man being. We have a dalet right here. What's most profound, don't look Vav and don't look at the Yod yet because this is Vav. What I want you to see is the Bet and the Lamed. Wow. Bet Lamed is another word for heart. Hebrew, generally, when we see the word heart and it's written, it's Leb, it's Lamed Bet. This is in the reversed order. The order is still the same as heart. It's also in the Lamed, Aleph, that mean not. And then we have Bet Lamed, that means not. So what is going on here? Why all of these? Why am I bringing this up to you? Well, because Bet Lamed means a fearful and anxious heart, or one that is subject to terror or extreme fear. It's because it's in the wrong order. It is saying that the inside has authority over you, meaning you're anxious and fear. So when I was talking about the ego sitting on your amygdala, saying God, that it has set itself up in your temple as God, your beast ego is anti-anointing. Your beast ego is anti-Christ. Your controls and manipulates you through your amygdala that will put you into fight and flight, that will put you in the sympathetic nervous system, and if it is there for too long, it will kill you. How do I know this? Because this is happening to my mother. She was diagnosed with leukemia, and her leukemia that she came down with is due to being in the sympathetic nervous system for most of her life. Her body is literally turning itself on her because her beast ego through fear is ruling and reigning and is keeping her from the anointing of the Mashiach, of the Christ. I hope you guys are connecting to that. Some of you that may not be new. Maybe some of that to you is a wow. It was a wow when I saw this because this was directly connected to when I had my complex post-traumatic stress disorder. And it literally was killing me until the letters of light, which I just shared with you guys, and of light came to life and began to raise me up out of that so that I could be the leader over my own temple because the wrestle was good. So why is this? Why did I bring that up? Because Badal being divided, the temple is divided until you go through the door of your inward man and receive instruction. The Lamed, the letters of light, a teaching shepherd of light that brings the staff of authority that will bring you the teachings, but you must go inward so you can deliver yourself of what? Your weak and feeble position. Because really, when we look at this, Badal, this is on the inside, you are dal, you are weak and feeble. And that's what causes you to be divided. This is really an explanation of the ego and what it does. So the resolve on it is, I pretty much already shared that. But the first thing you have to do is you must be connected to mother. And you must be humble and you must be teachable. Because there are twin visions that are being given to you, one of mother, one of father, that is the power, means, and direction for you to go in your inner man on the inside to build yourself, which is the door to the teachings that are necessary to instruct you as Elohim. Because when we enter in, we forget who we are. We are of one instruction, the way that is revealed to us while we're in the sea of humanity. Did you guys catch that? Did you catch that? So I have to check in to see if you guys ended up catching what I was sharing, and maybe that was new to you or not. I'm just looking through, scrolling. Okay, I don't see any questions. That is incredible. Okay, here we go. Yes, the oneness unity creates easy. And thank you, Claire. I'm glad that I'm able to explain it to you, that you can hear it. And yes, it is an inside job. We must in first. So let's go back and see it. So now we can see the division that happened and where it happened. It's within that we were divided as Elohim. And now let's see what it's talking about. And finish this up. I don't want to keep you very long. I've had you for 35 minutes. And I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to share. I don't take that lightly at all. Look at this. Oh, I love this. Okay, so we've got the word between. This is the same word that means discernment. This is the same word for discernment. Vayin. Now, what's so amazing about this, if you've heard the phrase before, Chokmah and Binah, it's wisdom and understanding. Well, understanding is from this as well, bin, but it's binah. So it would be having discernment that is being revealed to you. It would have a hey on it. But this is really showing us duality that is in the fallen world. This is our fallen noon. So in our flesh, there's light and dark. Oh, I hope you guys are getting this. So the Elohim was divided between the light and between the dark. And we are to have discernment, and because the root of this word means to build, right? But it's while we're in the fallen flesh. So we are having, this is having the discernment in the system of duality of that is revealed of light and that which is revealed of darkness. But they're connected because they're one. Now look at this. This discernment has a pierced bet. This one does not. And there's a reason for it. This one that is connected to, this light is the next word, is that when we go in the way of light, light then reveals to us what we need to become one, connecting to it to raise us up. And because of that, we have discernment, and when we go within, we get pierced with these things because the light reveals things to us that are in the dark. But if you are of the dark, you must connect to Mother first in order to build. But if you go to the dark first, you aren't pierced within. So in other words, your heart doesn't get pierced. So right here, this is actually connecting service to self and service to others. Here is service to others, and here is service to self. But yet, when we are of the light, revealed as the light, as connected to Mother, when we go to the inside, then there's the revelation of the dark. The dark is not what we have seen as bad. Let me try to say this differently. I have shared with you that evil before, when we trace it down, means young. It means a child or an infant. Now, I know that sounds crazy because how can you say that that's evil? Well, hang. Because a child and an infant, if it's not instructed, can turn to evil and to be selfish, because we're born in a selfish nature, right? We have to be born with a selfish nature because we cry out when we have needs that need to be met. You know, we've got a dirty diaper, or we're hungry, or we're not comfortable, or something not's right. We need to make our needs known, or else we will have oblivious parents that may not think to check on us in the middle of the night because we're sound asleep. But if we don't have instruction, that's why it's Ein Vav Lamed, to be able to see, to connect in the heart, and to instruct. If not, that child will grow up continuing to do harm to other people because they've not been instructed. So the reason why I'm sharing that with you is that anyone that goes into the dark first, without taming the beast ego nature, part of the taming process is piercing our heart, connecting to it. Notice that light has piercing on the inside. There's our Vav. Darkness does not. Darkness hasn't connected to the heart. That is why we take the light into the darkness. And the darkness is the hidden teachings. Because look at life. I'm hoping that you guys can get this. I hope I can explain it. And this is Hebrew hope. If my friend was in here, Christopher, he'd be getting a chuckle out of that. So my Hebrew and Aramaic hope with expectation is that I can explain this to you so we can really connect to it at the heart level. Because if we don't connect it to the heart level, we keep it up in our head and we will not change. Really, our levels of consciousness begin in our heart, not up here in our brain. So the darkness, when you have light already within you and you go into the hidden, it is meant to bring you life. What? Yes, it's meant to bring you life because chet comes from the root, chava, the mother of all living, that we were set apart from, that we need to find. So when we go in the way of light and we have the discernment necessary because we're building our temple, because we've been given power on the inside so that we can deal with our fallen flesh, building family, it will be revealed to us that which is life. But this is going to be the fire that you go through. And again, now with the sheen on the inside, this is inside fire. So stop for just a moment here. Backtrack. We go into the darkness without going to the light first. If you go into the darkness first without having your vav, your heart pierced with the vav and connecting to your heart, if you don't have that and you don't have the spirit breath, this is what happens. So chet, yes, it's life, but it also means to be outside. You are outside until you find life, and then you're marked with a covenant. If you do not have your heart pierced, the sheen is here. So this is consuming fire. When you are in service to self, you have self-fire, known as ishness, self-ish. Ish is the Hebrew word for fire. So this sheen right here, you're going to have a life of fire, which means entropy, which means self-consumption. So the darkness, if you do not find life and you're set apart from it, because remember, system of duality, we must go to the right hand first, the way of light. If you darkness, you are going to be set on the outside of life, and you are going to have ish, fire, consume you because you're grasping a hold of the power in the fallen world, because this is a fallen cough. I hope you guys are getting that. Hi, KJ. I'm glad you're here. You're here finally, but I just finished up with everything that I shared, my friend. I love you, but you'll have to listen to the video. So in summary, what I just shared, so I can do a real quick, summary of this verse. But going into the darkness where there is true power, without going to the light first and taking your light into it with having a heart pierced, because again, the darkness is just the hidden teachings. It's the stuff that has been kept away intentionally, meant for a mature audience. But there are still those in duality that found it because they chose to skip their heart. That is why they do the things that they do and that they are heartless, because some of the things that they do, it hurts too much because of the thing harm on people. Remember why I was talking about the word evil. They're children that never got there. So they seek power to have control over people so that they don't get hurt. If I can control and manipulate you, I will never get hurt again. So think of those poor narcissists out there that are little children that never got raised properly, that are hurting, and they vow to never hurt again. So they want to control and manipulate so that they don't get into the place of hurt, and they turned off their heart. And some of them go into the dark teachings so that they can learn to control and manipulate people. But they're a bunch of children. And they need light. They need mother's teaching more than ever. So if we do a recap, let me do a recap and then I'll close this out because, oops, I didn't mean to turn off the camera. Wrong button. Silly me. Hi, James. It's good to see you here. Okay. Let's do a recap. So just the recap for you guys. Just try to quickly. In the beginning, so again, we're in 1:4. So in the beginning, the Elohim, who are one, the instruction, who are one, that had the teaching, the staff of authority that were revealed within the sea of humanity saw. They were raised as first fruit leaders, and they saw oneness unity. They were connected, and they were humble, and they had twin visions, and that they saw through the Aleph Tav as one covenant, the light. And it was revealed through the spirit breath that the importance was to connect to the heart, to be raised at one. This was going to be a burnishing and a brandishing, grasping a hold of the power of the light, and that wrestling with it until the heart was pierced to build you on the inside was good. But then divided Elohim between the light and the dark. In other words, they created duality. But in the process of that, they flipped the polarity of their heart. They became fearful and anxious, which was the creation of the ego. Now, the ego, who sits on the inside as the authority over you, ruling you through fear, has set itself upon the seat of your brain, the throat of your brain, saying that it is God. It is the Antichrist that sits in your temple. But the resolve would be to build yourself on the inside by going through the door that would then teach and instruct you in the true ways of Elohim, of becoming one with God, revealing it to the sea of humanity. This is done because in the system of duality, we must discern between the light and the dark, as the light will reveal to you the way of one. It will pierce your heart and raise you up. And if you are connected to Mother and continue to build, you will be given the power while you're in your lower flesh to then have the darkness revealed to you, where you will find life, chet, and you will go through the consuming fire that will deliver you from your fallen flesh nature, as long as you are willing to empty your cup of all the things in the material realm that hold you back from the power that you need to deliver yourself from that which divides you. So that is a brief summary of what this verse is, so that we can take it to root, to heart, realizing that we are wrestling with these things. The division. Thank you, Drew. Yes, Renee, shuv, to turn. So these things are what we need to take within us that should pierce our heart, and we are going to wrestle with them. The very first time I saw that I was Elohim, are you kidding me? And when I got confirmed, I shared this with you before, I was in the shower and I had it confirmed to me. I was thinking about Enlil and Enki and some of those stories, and I heard as plain as day, you are Enlil. You are Enki. Stop holding to those narratives and realize you are Elohim. You created this. And I was so floored. I was spinning so hard, I almost had to sit down in the bottom of the shower to realize that we are the creators that made this mess. But it's a beautiful mess. It truly is. Because when you have the eyes to see it, you can see that it is all good. I'm not saying that the part of the children that are doing evil things isn't. That cracks me up. I'm not saying that those things don't exist. And I don't say that those things aren't horrendous, because they are. But when you understand and completely divorce yourself from those narratives to see that the hurt people, and I did see you post that there, KJ. I think it was you, KJ, that said that. That if we don't remember that hurt people, we are never going to be able to see these people as little children that need to be loved. And if we don't realize that we are eternal beings, we're going to see that the life of these children that are being snuffed out, and yes, it's terrible. Yes, I would never do that. But guaranteed, all of us have held positions in the light and in the darkness have experienced everything. We have. So when we begin as being children who are hurt, children that turned off their heart because they didn't have the love that they needed, they weren't raised in the way that was needed. They are holding that negative position for us to learn and have discernment so that we can take our light and go into the darkness to bring life to them. Because if they don't have it revealed to them, that sheen, that consuming fire will consume them completely so that they don't continue doing harm. That's the crazy thing. Think about of all the things in our lives that are self-consuming. So think of cancer. They used to call it the consumption disease. Many, many times, cancer is self-consuming because we have too much anger and bitterness within us. Now, you couple that with a bad diet, glyphosate, all the chemicals. Our bodies, when they're healthy, can do a lot to strip those things. But if you are continually living in anger and bitterness, your body won't be fighting it because it's trying to fight the anger and the bitterness first. And it will consume you because anger and bitterness are not of the light. That is the self-consumption. That is selfishness, because as long as you're angry at somebody, you haven't set them free. You are manipulating and controlling them through your anger. Because guaranteed, if you are angry at somebody who's an empath, it hurts their heart. But in reality, you are hurting yourself and you are consuming yourself because we're all connected. So you think that anger is justified. And you think that you can be angry at that person because they did this and that and such. But really, what are you truly angry at? Are you angry because you didn't have boundaries? Are you angry because you allowed it to happen? Are you angry because you felt you were helpless? Where are you right now? Are you still helpless? Are you an adult? So, the darkness is setting you apart from life and is consuming you because you're grasping a hold of the things of this material world. But the flip side is that if you take your light into it, you will find life. And that consuming fire will then eat up the beast ego nature so that you can be lifted out of that which holds you back in your fallen flesh. As long as you choose to empty your cup of the things of the lower world that are holding you back. So this verse will even shows us what the anti-anointing is. Antichrist is the beast ego that sits upon the throne of our brain, that holds us back in fear and in anger and in bitterness, all of the things that oppose the anointing. The anointing wants to run us. It's already there. That's part of the light. That's the revealed light from those who have a pierced heart that then rises up in their head, because the resh means head. It's oneness, unity that rises up in your head. And it's revealing those who are the light, who are walking in the Mashiach, the Christ anointing. So this whole comments, this whole verse, this whole thing was showing us where the ego came in, how they got divided, why discernment is necessary, what the light does to bring it into the darkness, and that they were both created by Elohim. And it's the Aleph Tav that allows us to bring the light in, which is the burning and brandishing that happens on the inside of us, the seraphim message that raises us up out of the system of duality. So that's all I have to say for now. Again, if you missed the first portion, I was talking about Father's Day. I was talking about honoring our father and mother, what that looks like, trying to. And again, I will have an open Zoom meeting for those of you who can join. I know Father's Day weekend is busy. If you can pop on over, that's great. And if you can't, that's fine too. I will be having it again. It's my hopes to have it every Saturday. And yes, Renee, I'm just going to pop that up because that's really good. There's been many comments that have been really good. I just happened to see this one and I wanted to put this here. That everything that we go through, it's not a mistake. It's a beautiful experience. And that's exactly what it is. So we are going to be discussing on Saturday the parable of the seed. You're welcome, Jamie. But we're actually not going to go into the seed itself. What we're going to do is we're going to be breaking down the verse when the disciples said, "Why do you speak in parables to the people?" And I think it'll be very, very revealing to you. So thank you, James. I appreciate it. I love all of you so much. And again, I'm going to say it one more time. If you haven't heard the Aramaic song, that was done on an 1.5-hour loop through Aramaic. It's posted on my Facebook page, and I will be putting it on the YouTube channel shortly. I highly recommend listening to it, and maybe listening to it when you meditate, because it moved me, it stirred, and take a look at what they did scientifically happen to the blood before listening to it, and what it did with the blood after listening to it. Pretty amazing. I love you guys so very much, and I say that from my heart, not just as fancy words, but we are all one. And I'm so glad to be here with you, and I'm so glad to be able to share these things with you, see the wonderful comments, feel the beautiful vibration of who you are, as we are one family, one strong love, strength in oneness, unity. Shalom, shalom, and namaste.